Did you know that momentum is always at work in your life? The question is it working for you or is it working against you? You may think that you just need more motivation. You don't need more motivation. What you need is movement, because when you take the right action over time, it builds momentum. I've had the pleasure over the past decade to work with over 600 entrepreneurs, and there's one thing that I've picked up on that set the top achievers apart from everyone else. Top achievers, they figure out how to gain momentum and keep that momentum going. In today's episode, we're going to talk about what is momentum, why it matters, why it's crucial to you, especially if you're a business owner, and how to gain momentum to work for you instead of work against you. So I was thinking about this, like, what is momentum? Let's define what momentum is. Momentum is a neutral energy. It's not good or bad, right or wrong. Momentum is a neutral energy that's made up of small daily decisions over time. It's like the compound effect. It's the little things done over time that build up and cause momentum to happen. Think about this. Think about your habits. This morning when you woke up, what's the first thing that you did once you opened your eyes? Did you grab your phone? Did you get a glass of water? Like, what's that look like for you? And then what's the next thing you did after that? The point is that you have habits that are causing you to have momentum in your life. My father-in-law before he retired, worked for a railroad. And I've heard before that when a train is completely stopped, dead on its tracks, all one has to do is put a wood block in front of the train. And when that train starts, I'm assuming there's a key, that's the motion of a key, that when someone starts the train, that the train won't be able to move forward once started unless somebody moves that block. Now think about this. Think about a train when it's most powerful, when it's firing on all cylinders going full speed down the track. That train, it has so much energy, so much momentum going on that it could blow through an entire brick wall like it's nothing. What's the difference? It's momentum. The goal of today is that you become more aware of the momentum that you already have, and you self-discover, is it momentum that's working for you or it's working against you? So now that we define what momentum is, let's talk about why it matters. Momentum matters because willpower is not on will call, meaning that there's only so much energy, capacity that we have every day to force ourselves to do something. The goal is that you don't use your willpower more than necessary. You want it to become a habit, because when it's a habit, that's when it becomes, it's like the unconscious competence, meaning you do it habitually day after day. That's when it starts to feel easy, by the way. Think about this. You ever started like, okay, I'm going to start going to the gym. Think about how much of a pain it is, how challenging it is to change the rhythm, the momentum that you have going on in your life, to start going to the gym when you haven't gone for a while. Okay, think about the energy required, the willpower to start going to the gym again. Have you ever been in the rhythm of going to the gym after a year or two, or maybe even 3? What was it like then to miss the gym? Now it feels strange if you miss the gym. What's the difference? One had momentum working for them. The other had momentum working against them. So why it matters is because there's only so much willpower that we have, and that's our energy required, and it drains. It goes down over time during the day. Another reason why it matters is because we build confidence. We could build confidence daily by keeping our promises to ourselves. Confidence is an inside job. Nobody can give us confidence. It comes from the inside of us. And it's something that's developed over time. Well, how do you develop confidence, Chris? Well, in my opinion, my experience, life tells me that I develop confidence by celebrating the small wins, keeping the small wins, keeping the small promises that I made to myself over time consistently is what builds inner confidence. That's another reason why it matters. Another reason why momentum matters is because you gain clarity as you go. Some of you right now watching this video already know the next step that you need to take. You just simply haven't done it yet. And you not only have you haven't done it yet, you're asking God for more clarity, and he's not going to give you more clarity because he's already made it clear the next step to take. Take that, and you'll gain clarity after you take that next step. So take action, right? And taking action is a difference maker. I love in scripture it says, don't be just a hearer of the word, be a doer of it, where I think that's a principle we could apply to our life. Like, don't just consume all the time. Don't just consume content, take action. Here's how momentum can backfire and work against you is when you're asking for more clarity when you already know the step. Your attitude is not ready, aim, fire. It's ready, 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 aim, ready, ready, and you never aim and fire. It's going to be working against you at that point. It's going to lead to procrastination. It's going to lead to a lack of confidence because you keep telling yourself, today's the day I'm going to start that podcast. I'm going to take that step. And then when you have another day of not doing that, you tell yourself, all that does is reinforce the story. Well, I guess I'm not a podcaster. I'm not an author. By the way, there was a lady, I was at an appointment, a real estate appointment, and I go into this house to talk to my clients about selling it. I look around the house, I go downstairs to the finished lower level, and there's a sweet elderly lady behind the computer, probably in her upper 80s or so. And she's behind her MacBook computer typing, and I was just thinking, wow, she kind of had this little swag about her, and I introduced myself to her because now I'm down in her space. And I said to her, hey, just curious, what are you working on? She goes, oh, I'm working on my next book. And I thought to myself, I just didn't expect her to say that. And I said to her, hey, I've always thought about writing a book. What's your best piece of advice to me? And she, without missing a beat, said, oh, just write a little bit each day, even if it's just a sentence or two, and just keep writing. And then she went back to typing. And looking back, she gave me some solid advice. Just start writing. So if you desire to write a book, start writing a little bit. Don't write your first book. Don't use chat to write your entire book today, because then you miss out. I mean, you could do that, I guess. And if you want to, God bless you, do it. And yet here's what you miss out on by just using chat to write your book. You miss out on the journey of becoming an author. That's a lot different than just having a book. So she gave me some really good advice. When it backfires, that looks like you keep waiting for clarity, you keep overthinking, you break promises, and then you mistake movement for achievement. Meaning that, oh, I'm just going to stay busy doing all these things, but it's not really the thing that you know you need to be doing. That doesn't mean that you're achieving by just being a busybody. Matter of fact, that's counterproductive oftentimes. So say you're on board. I trust that you're on board. You're like, okay, Chris, I see the importance of momentum. I realize I have it going on right now, and that in my life, it's either working for me or against me. Like, how do we actually build momentum? I think about a book called Win the Day. More important than the book, you need for you to decide what it looks like for you to win the day. Not only in your business, but in your life. As a human being, what makes you feel like you've won the day? Think about your health and fitness. Think about your spiritual life, whatever that means to you. I refer to it as my relationship with God or my relationship with Jesus. How can you strengthen and build that today? Maybe that's the most important thing that in this season that you work on that makes your business and your entire life better. So how do you build momentum? You narrow it down to one small, tiny thing. Please do not make the mistake that I've made so many times of thinking that, you know what, I'm ready to change my life and in my health and fitness. So I'm writing a meal plan. I'm drinking a gallon of water. I'm going to the gym every day, 7 days a week, running 3 miles, hardcore. Rarely does that actually lead to long-term sustainable success. You know what that usually leads to? That'll lead to you getting burnt out. If you just try to change everything overnight, that's not a recipe for success. That's a recipe for disaster. So do not make the mistake of doing that. Figure out a small win. Make it so small and simple that it almost feels like you've oversimplified that. Let me give you an example. Say you want to get dialed in and become more fit, more healthy, and you decide that you're going to start drinking the proper amount of water for you to drink each day. Great. Do that consistently, day after day. Do that for the next 90 days, right? Build the habit. Because that's really what we're talking about. Like, if we were to take one step back and say, what is it that causes momentum? It's habit. It's the thing that we do day in and day out. By the way, I have this book next to me by James Clear, so I wouldn't forget to mention it. It's called Atomic Habits. It's one of my favorite books about habits. And really, there's only about one or two things I remember from this entire book. And I want to share one of them with you. It's this, that each decision that you make is like casting a vote for your future self and who you choose to become. The other thing that I remember from this book is that you don't get to decide your future, you get to decide your habits, and your habits decide your future. You don't decide your future, your habits do. I would say that your habits, good or bad, depending on what you choose, will cause you to have momentum. The question is it momentum that's moving you in a positive forward direction in your life? Or is it the momentum that leads to a life of regret that causes you to feel like you keep getting the same results day after day? I remember for about 9 years, from 2007 to 2015-ish, I was stuck in my business. I had my head up against the wall, meaning I had a desire to make six figures for the first time in my life. And it seems like no matter how much I worked, and no matter how much harder I tried, I just kept getting the same results year after year. And it wasn't until I got my first coach who helped me get way more of my time back and break through six figures for the first time in my life. And now that's been compounded and built up over my life. And I'm so thankful. Shout out to Rick DeLuca for helping me get my time back, because my family, my kids are college age now. And I'm so thankful that I made that change a decade ago and got a coach who helped me get my time back to run it like a business. And really, as a business owner, there's all the things. And I think the challenge that so many of us entrepreneurs have, so many of us business owners have, is that it's our responsibility to make sure all of the things get done. That doesn't mean that we have to do it all. Matter of fact, leverage is important. Another conversation for another day. And yet, where I got stuck in my business is that as business owners, there's really only two main things that we need to make sure that we do consistently. Number one is some type of client acquisition or lead generation. It doesn't matter how great your product or service is. If you have no clients that want your product or service, if you have nobody to serve, it doesn't matter how great it is. So some form of consistent lead generation so we could obtain clients. And then number two that's important is some type of follow-up. If you take 10 people at any given time, 8 to 9 out of the 10 people, 80 to 90%, are not going to be ready, willing, or able, or interested in hiring you right now. That doesn't mean we ghost and ignore them. Let's have a plan in place to systematically communicate with them, to strengthen and build a relationship over time so we can be there, so we can show up when they're ready. So lead generation and lead follow-up are the two essential for us business owners. So I want to ask you in today's episode on momentum, what is the next step that you already know that you need to do? You've been thinking about it for a while. Maybe you've even woken up in the middle of the night, toss and turn. You wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it, and you just haven't done it yet. Maybe it's launch your podcast channel, and you just need to narrow it down to something so simple, such as you pull out your phone and you record your first video that's only 60 to 90 minutes, or 60 to 90 seconds, my bad. You record your first video that's only a minute or two and you upload it to YouTube. Congratulations, you just recorded your first video podcast. Now you're going to get better by putting in the reps. So next week, show up again on whatever day it is a week from today and do another video and do the same thing after that. By the way, I want to give you a tip, because I don't know, most of the time, I bet you're like me where you can get discouraged. Meaning that, hey, you know what? I feel inspired right now. I'm motivated. I'm driven. I'm going to gain some momentum in a positive direction, and I'm going to do that thing. I'm going to drink that water. I'm going to follow up with that person, whatever it is for you. It's easy to get discouraged if you miss a day. So I want you to let go of the idea, and you probably have heard this before, let go of this idea of perfection and be obsessed with progress and the process. Meaning that if when you do the thing today, and if you miss it tomorrow, don't give up on yourself. Just don't miss 2 days in a row. Get back on the saddle, get back on it, and do it again. There's there's a variety of opinions as far as how many days does it take to make a habit. You know, Gary Keller in his book, The One Thing, says 66 days. I don't know how long it's going to take for you to make a habit. I think it's different for each one of us. And it's going to take as long as it takes for you to create your habit. Just do it. The days are going to go by anyways. So whether it's 66 days or 90 days, just start today. If you miss tomorrow, get back on the saddle, pick up where you left off, and just keep going. So if you've made it this far, number one, I just want to say thank you for tuning into my podcast channel. Did you know that like 99% of people who tune into my channel are not subscribed? So if you've listened this far, it must be resonating with you. You must be my people. Will you do me a favor? Will you hit the subscribe button? And will you share this with somebody you know that could benefit from hearing this message on momentum? I appreciate you. I trust it's been helpful, and I will see you next time.